Everyone knew the truth about my marriage except me. I used to think I'd feel at the moment something went wrong in my marriage. Like an alarm would go off in my chest, loud and impossible to ignore. I was certain I'd know if my husband stopped loving me. If he lied to me. If he betrayed me. I was wrong about all of it. Stevenson Brown wasn't just my husband. He was my high school sweetheart. The boy who walked me home every day for 3 years. The man who held my mother's hand in the hospital when the cancer finally took her. The only person who stayed when my father drank himself into an early grave 6 months later. He was supposed to be my safe place. My constant. My home. And when whispers started circulating through our small town in Kingston, when neighbors began avoiding eye contact at the market, when my best friends stopped returning my calls, when the women at church started praying over me with tears in their eyes, he had a choice to make. Tell me the truth. Or let me keep living in the beautiful lie he'd built around me. He chose the lie. But it wasn't just a simple deception. That would have been survivable. No, this was something deeper, something that had roots in every corner of my life. An affair that had been going on for 3 years, right under my nose, with someone I saw every single day. Someone I trusted. Someone I loved. Here's what Stevenson didn't know, what his careful planning failed to account for. Secrets don't stay buried in small towns. They seep through walls, slip into conversations, grow legs and walk right up to your front door. Everyone knew. The cashier at the supermarket. My coworkers. The pastor. My neighbors. Even the young girl who braided hair at the salon knew. Everyone except me. And in that silence, while I smiled and cooked dinner and planned our future, something was dying inside my marriage. Not love. Not trust. Not hope. Me. And the truth, when it finally found me, didn't arrive like thunder. It came like rain. Soft at first, then all at once, drowning everything I thought I knew. My name is Maya Wilson. I'm 34 years old. And 7 months ago, I found a letter that changed everything. This is the story of how my husband betrayed me with the person I trusted most. How an entire community chose his comfort over my dignity. And how I learned that sometimes the last person to know the truth is the one living it. This is also the story of shame. The kind that makes you question every memory, every smile, every moment you thought was real. The kind that makes you wonder if you were stupid, or blind, or just too desperate to be loved. This is the story of how ignorance isn't always bliss. And how sometimes, the truth doesn't set you free, it just shows you how trapped you've always been. But if you stay with me until the end, you'll hear something else too. Something quieter but stronger. The sound of a woman finding her voice again. If you want to know how I survived what came next, if you want to understand how a person rebuilds themselves from ashes, subscribe now. Because this story doesn't end where you think it does. Let me take you back to the beginning. To our 5th wedding anniversary. To the day I started ignoring the voice in my head that was trying to save me. At the time, I thought my life was simple. Not perfect, just steady. I was a primary school teacher at Hillview Basic School in Kingston. I taught 3rd grade, and I loved those children like they were my own. Stevenson worked as a manager at a wholesale distribution company downtown. We had a modest 2-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood where everyone knew everyone. We went to church on Sundays. We had curry goat at my Aunt Patricia's house every other Saturday. From the outside, we looked like we had it all figured out. I believed in the rhythm of our life. Wake up at 6. Make breakfast. Kiss him goodbye. Teach. Come home. Cook dinner. Watch television. Go to bed. Repeat. There was comfort in the predictability. After losing both my parents within months of each other, I craved stability more than excitement. Stevenson gave me that. Or at least, I thought he did. I remember thinking, on our 5th anniversary, that we'd made it through the hardest part. The grief. The financial struggles. The pressure from his mother who never thought I was good enough for her son. We'd survived all of it together. He took me to Mystic Mountain that day. We rode the Sky Explorer and laughed like teenagers. We ate festival and jerk chicken at a little spot overlooking the ocean. He held my hand the entire drive home. I'm proud of us, I told him as we pulled into our driveway. He smiled. Kissed my forehead. Me too, baby. Me too. I went to bed that night feeling grateful. Feeling blessed. Feeling like maybe, finally, life was starting to make sense again. I had no idea that while I was teaching vowel sounds to 8-year-olds, while I was grading spelling tests and planning lessons, while I was being a good wife and a good woman, he was building an entire second life. And the person helping him build it? My sister, Jade. There were things that didn't sit right, but I didn't know how to name them. Like how Jade started calling more often. Not to talk to me, to talk to Stevenson. About business opportunities. About investment advice. She'd always been flighty, always chasing some new scheme, so I didn't think much of it. Or how my husband's phone became a thing he guarded. Not obviously. Just differently. He used to leave it on the kitchen counter while he showered. Then suddenly it was always in his pocket. Always face down. When I'd reach for it to check the time, he'd materialize out of nowhere. I got it, babe. I just need to see what time it is. It's 7:15. Dinner ready? Small things. Tiny things. Like how he started working late more often. Not every night, just enough. Tuesday evenings. Thursday afternoons. Random Saturdays. Big shipment coming in, he'd say. Or boss needs me to close up. Or inventory check. I believed him because why wouldn't I? He'd never given me a reason not to. Or how Jade stopped visiting our house. We used to have Sunday dinners together, me, Stevenson, and Jade. She'd bring wine and complain about her latest boyfriend drama. Then suddenly, she was always busy. Work's crazy right now, sis. I'm not feeling too good. Rain check? I missed her. I worried about her. I called to check in. And she'd answer, sounding distant, saying she was fine but couldn't talk long. Sometimes I'd hear traffic in the background. Or music. Once, I could have sworn I heard Stevenson's laugh in the distance, but when I asked if he was there, she said no. Must have been the TV, I told myself. Then there was the money. We've always shared our finances. Joint account, joint decisions. But around month 4 of our 5th year of marriage, Stevenson suggested opening a separate account for business purposes. It'll be easier for tax season, he explained. Keep personal and business separate. What business? I asked. The side thing I'm working on with Jerome. Remember? The import stuff. I didn't remember, but I nodded anyway. I was tired. It was report card season. I had 30 students to evaluate. Sure, baby. Whatever makes sense. And just like that, I gave him permission to hide money from me. Looking back now, I can see every red flag. Every warning sign. Every moment my gut tried to tell me something was wrong. But in the moment, I explained them all away. Because I was a good wife. Because I trusted him. Because I'd been raised to believe that suspicion was the enemy of marriage, that jealousy was unbecoming, that a woman who questions her husband is a woman who doesn't respect him. So I silenced every alarm bell. I swallowed every doubt. I told myself I was being paranoid, insecure, silly. I learned how to gaslight myself before he ever had to. The first time I actually voiced my concerns, we were getting ready for bed. Stevenson was in the bathroom brushing his teeth, and I was sitting on the edge of our bed, staring at nothing. "Babe," I called out. "Can I ask you something?" He poked his head around the doorframe, toothbrush still in his mouth. "Uh-huh. Is everything okay? With us, I mean?" He rinsed his mouth, came into the bedroom, sat down beside me. His face was open, concerned. "What you mean?" "Of course everything's okay." "Why?" "I don't know. You just seem distant lately. And you're working so much." "Anne." "Maya." He took my hands in his. "Baby, I'm working hard so we can build something. So we can buy a bigger house. So we can have kids and give them everything. You want that, right?" "Yes, but..." "Then you gotta trust me. I know it's a lot right now, but it's for us. Everything I do is for us." He kissed my forehead. Pulled me into a hug. And I let it go. Because what was I supposed to say? That I had a feeling? That something seemed off even though I couldn't name what it was? The second time I brought it up, we were driving back from his mother's house. Jade had been there too, and I'd noticed how they barely spoke to each other. How they seemed to deliberately avoid being in the same room. "Did you and Jade have a fight?" I asked. Stevenson kept his eyes on the road. "No." "Why?" "You two barely said 2 words to each other tonight." "We're not that close, Maya. You know that. You used to be. People drift. It happens." His voice had an edge to it. "Why you so concerned about me and your sister anyway?" The way he said it made me feel crazy. Like I was imagining things. Like I was causing problems where there weren't any. "I'm not concerned," I said quietly. "Just wondering." We drove the rest of the way in silence. The third time I tried to talk about it, I didn't even get words out. I opened my mouth to say something about the late nights, about the phone calls, about the distance I felt growing between us, and he cut me off. "Maya, you're stressed. School's got you worked up. You're looking for problems where there aren't any. But, baby, listen to yourself. You're overthinking everything. We're fine. I love you. Nothing's changed." And because I was tired, because I didn't want to fight, because some part of me was afraid of what I might find if I kept digging, I nodded. "You're right. I'm just tired. Get some rest. You'll feel better tomorrow." But I didn't feel better tomorrow. Or the day after. Or the day after that. I just got better at staying quiet. I learned how to smile when I wanted to scream. How to say I'm fine when I was falling apart. How to perform happiness so convincingly that even I almost believed it. I became very good at it. So good that when my coworker, Miss Gloria, asked if everything was all right at home, I laughed. "Girl, why you asking me that?" She hesitated, studying my face. "No reason. Just checking on you." "Well, I'm blessed. Stevenson and I are doing great." She nodded slowly. "That's good. That's real good, Maya." But her eyes said something different. They said, "I'm sorry." I didn't understand what she was sorry for. Not then. It was a Tuesday evening in March. I remember because it was parent-teacher conference week, and I'd stayed late to meet with families. I came home around 8:30, exhausted, hungry, ready to just eat leftovers and collapse into bed. The house was quiet. Stevenson's car was in the driveway, but he wasn't in the living room or kitchen. "Babe?" I called out. No answer. I walked toward our bedroom and heard his voice. He was on the phone, speaking low. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I was just walking to my own bedroom. But something in his tone made me stop just outside the door. "No, she doesn't know. She's not going to find out. I told you, stop worrying. I'll handle it. Yes, I promise." Look, I have to go. She'll be home soon. Then silence. Then movement. I pushed the door open. He was sitting on the edge of the bed, phone in his hand, looking startled. Hey. He recovered quickly, smiling. Didn't hear you come in. How were the conferences? Who were you talking to? Jerome. About the shipment. Oh. I stood there, watching him. It sounded personal. It's business, Maya. Why you questioning me? I'm not questioning you. You just what? You don't trust me now? He flipped it so fast. Made me the villain for asking a simple question. That's not what I said. But it's what you meant. He stood up, walked past me. I'm going to get something to eat. I stood alone in our bedroom, my heart racing, my hands trembling. Nothing dramatic had happened. He hadn't confessed. He hadn't slipped up. But something had shifted inside me. I knew. And once I knew, I couldn't unknow it. 3 days later, I found it. I wasn't snooping. I need you to understand that. I wasn't going through his things looking for evidence. I was doing laundry. I was emptying pockets before throwing his work pants in the wash, something I did every week, and I found a folded piece of paper in his back pocket. It was worn, like it had been opened and refolded many times. The edges were soft. I almost didn't read it. Almost just threw it away with the receipts and business cards I usually found in his pockets. But something made me unfold it. The handwriting was familiar. Looping. Feminine. My sister's handwriting. Steve. I can't keep doing this. Seeing her face every Sunday, knowing what we're doing behind her back, it's killing me. I love you. God help me, I do. But she's my sister. We have to tell her. Or we have to end this. I can't live in this lie anymore. Please. Make a choice. J. I read it 3 times. Then 4. Then 5. I sat down on the bathroom floor, the letter still in my hands, and I tried to make the words mean something different than what they clearly meant. Maybe it was old. Maybe it was from before we got married. Maybe Jade had a crush on him years ago and this was just some leftover note that meant nothing. But I knew the truth. Deep in my bones, in that place where intuition lives, I knew. My husband was sleeping with my sister. My husband was sleeping with my sister, and everyone knew except me. The truth came together slowly, like pieces I had already been holding. The late nights. The phone calls. The distance. The way people looked at me at church. The way Miss Gloria apologized with her eyes. The way my Aunt Patricia hugged me too tight last Sunday, whispering you're stronger than you know, baby girl. They all knew. Every single one of them knew, and no one told me. I sat on that bathroom floor for 2 hours. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, holding that letter, while my entire life rearranged itself around this new truth. When Stevenson came home, I was still sitting there. Maya? Baby, what you doing on the floor? You okay? I looked up at him. This man I'd loved for 12 years. This man I'd trusted with everything. I held up the letter. His face went white. Maya. How long? Baby, let me explain. How long, Stevenson? 3 years. 3 years. Our entire 5th year of marriage. Half of our 4th. All those late nights. All those lies. All those times I questioned myself, silenced myself, told myself I was crazy. Get out, I said quietly. Maya, please. Get out. He left that night. Packed a bag and went to his mother's house. And I finally let myself cry. People think betrayal breaks you in one big moment. It doesn't. It breaks you slowly, in 1,000 small ways, over weeks and months. I couldn't sleep in our bed anymore. I'd lie there imagining them together, wondering how many times it had happened in our home, in our sheets, in the life we'd built. I couldn't eat. Food tasted like ash. I lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. I couldn't teach. I'd stand in front of my class, looking at those innocent faces, and lose my train of thought mid-sentence. The principal called me into her office, asked if I needed time off. I'm fine, I lied. But I wasn't fine. I was drowning. The worst part wasn't the betrayal itself. It was the humiliation. Because once I knew, I started seeing the truth everywhere. In every sympathetic look. In every awkward conversation that suddenly made sense. Mrs. Chen from church, who'd grabbed my hand 2 months ago and said, "Remember, Maya, God sees everything. The truth always comes to light." I'd thought she was just being religious. She was trying to tell me. My coworker Marcus, who'd asked out of nowhere if I had family I could lean on. "Sometimes the people closest to us aren't who we think they are," he'd said. I'd laughed it off. He was trying to warn me. Even my hairstylist had tried. "Girl, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Don't lose yourself trying to please everybody." I'd thought she was talking about work stress. They'd all known. They'd all tried, in their own way, to tell me without telling me. And I'd been too blind to see it. That's what broke me. Not just the betrayal. The blindness. The stupidity. The way I'd been the punchline of a joke I didn't even know was being told. I stopped going to church. Couldn't face those pitying eyes. I stopped going to family dinners. Couldn't sit at Aunt Patricia's table knowing she'd known and said nothing. I stopped answering phone calls. Jade tried calling 47 times in 2 weeks. I blocked her number. I didn't just lose trust in Stevenson. I lost trust in everyone. In myself most of all. How could I not have known? How could I have been so stupid? Those questions haunted me. They still do. The weeks after I found the letter taught me things I never wanted to know. I learned that people will prioritize a cheater's comfort over a betrayed wife's dignity. Stevenson's friends called me, asking if we could work it out. His mother showed up at my house crying, begging me to forgive him, saying marriages go through rough patches. A rough patch isn't a 3-year affair with your wife's sister. I learned that women will blame other women before they blame men. At the salon, I overheard 2 women talking about my situation. "She must have been neglecting him," one said. "A man don't stray unless something's missing at home." I learned that family means nothing when image is on the line. My Aunt Patricia, who'd known for over a year, finally admitted it. "I didn't want to be the one to break your heart, baby. And I thought maybe it would run its course. Maybe he'd come to his senses. So she let me smile like a fool for 12 more months. For my own good, apparently. I learned that some people are cowards. My best friend from university, who'd stopped calling me 6 months earlier, finally sent a text, "I'm sorry. I couldn't watch you live that lie anymore. It hurt too much. But not enough to tell me the truth." I learned that lawyers are expensive and divorce is humiliating. All our finances laid bare. All our text messages and bank statements examined. Proof of infidelity documented like evidence in a crime scene. I learned that 3 years of affair means 3 years of gifts I didn't know about. Jewelry for Jade. Weekend trips I thought were business conferences. A savings account in her name that he'd been funding with our money. Our money. The money I'd contributed. The money I'd saved by clipping coupons and shopping sales and saying no to things I wanted. He'd used it to wine and dine my sister. I learned that people love drama more than they love truth. Suddenly everyone wanted to talk to me. People who'd avoided me for months were calling, texting, showing up at my door wanting details. Girl, I heard it was going on at his mama house. Is that true? I heard she's pregnant. Is she pregnant? What you gonna do to her? You gotta do something. They wanted a show. They wanted tears and confrontation and revenge. I gave them nothing. Everyone expected me to confront Jade. To show up at her apartment screaming. To slap her. To destroy her property. To make a scene. I didn't. Not because I wasn't angry. I was. I am. I'm furious. But because confronting her would require me to see her. To speak to her. To acknowledge that she still exists in my world. And I decided that day on the bathroom floor that she doesn't. My sister died the moment I read that letter. The person who shares my blood, who played with me as a child, who I protected and defended and loved, that person is dead to me. There's no conversation to be had. No explanation that would matter. No apology that would change anything. She made her choice. For 3 years, every time she smiled in my face, every time she sat at my table, every time she hugged me and called me sis, she made that choice. So I made mine. I changed my number. I blocked her on everything. I told Aunt Patricia that if Jade showed up at any family function I attended, I would leave. People said I was being cold. Unforgiving. That she's still my sister, still family. But family doesn't do what she did. Family doesn't sleep with your husband in your bed while you're at work teaching children their ABCs. Family doesn't lie to your face for 3 years. Family doesn't choose a man over their own blood. She chose. And now she gets to live with that choice. Without me in her life. The divorce took 4 months. Stevenson fought it at first. Said he wanted to work on our marriage. Said it was a mistake. Said he loved me. If you loved me, I told him through my lawyer, you wouldn't have spent 3 years fucking my sister. He stopped fighting after that. I got the house. He'd wanted to sell it, split the proceeds. But my lawyer found proof that he'd been funneling our joint money into Jade's account, and the judge wasn't sympathetic. I got half his pension. I got the car. I got everything I asked for. None of it made me feel better. Revenge doesn't heal you. Justice doesn't undo betrayal. Winning in court doesn't give you back the years you lost. But you know what did help? Small things. Quiet things. I rearranged the entire house. New furniture. New paint. New everything. Erased every trace of him. I started therapy. Twice a week, I sat in a small office and talked to a woman named Dr. Williams who didn't judge me, didn't tell me to forgive, didn't say everything happens for a reason. She just listened. And slowly, I started hearing my own voice again. I took up painting. I'd never painted before in my life, but I bought canvas and brushes and terrible acrylic paint from the craft store, and I made ugly, angry, beautiful art. I hung it on my walls. My walls. In my house. I started saying no. To family events I didn't want to attend. To people who asked invasive questions. To anyone who suggested I should move on or let it go or forgive for my own peace. My peace came from removing them from my life. Not from forgiving them. I didn't leave loudly. I didn't post on social media about what happened. I didn't tell everyone I knew. I just quietly rebuilt myself. One day at a time. One choice at a time. And slowly, I started to feel like Maya again. Not the Maya who trusted too easily. Not the Maya who silenced her own intuition. A different Maya. A stronger one. A Maya who knows that being alone is better than being with someone who makes you feel crazy. A Maya who knows her worth. It's been 7 months since I found that letter. Stevenson and Jade are still together. I hear things, small town, people talk, but but I don't ask. Don't care. They're probably happy. Or maybe they're miserable, realizing that a relationship built on lies and betrayal doesn't have a solid foundation. Either way, it's not my problem anymore. I still teach 3rd grade at Hillview Basic School. I still have curry goat at Aunt Patricia's every few weeks, though she knows better than to mention my sister. I still go to church sometimes, though I found a new one across town where nobody knows my story. I'm not healed. I don't know if you ever fully heal from something like this. But I'm better. Stronger. Clearer. I know now that intuition isn't paranoia. That asking questions doesn't make you a bad wife. That trusting your gut doesn't mean you don't trust your partner. I know that people will always choose comfort over truth. That they'll watch you suffer in silence rather than have a difficult conversation. I know that family is a choice, not just blood. And sometimes you have to choose yourself. Most importantly, I know that I survived. That I'm still here. Still teaching. Still painting. Still laughing occasionally. Still me. The truth didn't save me. It destroyed everything I thought I knew. But in that destruction, I found something I'd lost years ago. Myself. Some truths don't arrive to save you. They arrive to wake you. And sometimes, waking up is the most painful thing you'll ever do. But it's also the only way to start living again. My name is Maya Wilson. I'm 34 years old. And I'm the last person who knew the truth about my marriage. But I'm the first person who chose to do something about it. And that makes all the difference.